I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
I, Lyndon Baines Johnson, do solemnly swear.
I, Richard Billhouse Nixon, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
I, William Jefferson Clayton.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy's presidency, though cut short by his assassination, was marked by ambitious promises, particularly in the realm of civil rights and space exploration.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal, before this decade is out, of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
However, his failure to enact significant civil rights legislation and the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion in 1961 tarnished his image. The invasion, intended to overthrow Fidel Castro, ended in a humiliating defeat for the U.S. And although Kennedy's administration handled the Cuban Missile Crisis effectively, his broader policy agenda saw mixed results. Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency is often remembered for his ambitious Great Society reforms, including Medicare and civil rights legislation. However, his involvement in the Vietnam War was a monumental failure. Despite initial successes, the war escalated into a quagmire, leading to the loss of thousands of American lives and widespread public opposition. Johnson's promise to eliminate poverty and provide equality for all Americans was overshadowed by the costs and consequences of the war. Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon's presidency is often defined by his foreign policy achievements, particularly his opening of diplomatic relations with China. However, his failure to deliver on promises related to domestic issues, such as reducing government spending, and his involvement in the Watergate scandal overshadowed his accomplishments. The scandal, which led to his resignation, remains one of the greatest political scandals in U.S. history, marking a major failure in his presidency.
Leading it, I do so with this prayer. May God's grace be with you all the days ahead.
Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford, who took office following Nixon's resignation, faced significant challenges during his short presidency. One of his most contentious decisions was his pardon of Richard Nixon, which many believed allowed the former president to avoid accountability for Watergate.
A full, free, and absolute pardon unto Richard Nixon.
Ford's presidency was also marked by economic difficulties, including high inflation and unemployment, and he struggled to address the energy crisis effectively. His inability to gain widespread support led to his loss in the 1976 election. George H.W. Bush. George H.W. Bush's presidency is often remembered for his leadership during the Gulf War and the end of the Cold War. However, one of his most significant failures was his broken promise regarding taxes. During his 1988 campaign, he famously declared, "Read my lips, no new taxes."
Read my lips, no new taxes.
Despite this, he was forced to raise taxes in 1990 due to economic pressures, leading to a loss of trust among voters and his eventual defeat in the 1992 election. Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's time in office was defined by economic prosperity and significant welfare reforms. However, he faced criticism for his failure to reform health care, a key campaign promise.
This healthcare system of ours is badly broken, and it is time to fix it.
Despite efforts, including the establishment of a task force led by his wife, Hillary Clinton, his health care reform plans were rejected by Congress. Additionally, his administration was plagued by the Monica Lewinsky scandal, which led to his impeachment, though he was ultimately acquitted.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
George W. Bush. George W. Bush's presidency was dominated by the events of 9/11 and the subsequent war on terror. His decision to invade Iraq in 2003, based on faulty intelligence about weapons of mass destruction, led to a protracted conflict with little success in terms of stability in the region. Another failure was his inability to prevent the financial crisis of 2008. Despite initial efforts to stimulate the economy, the crisis exposed the vulnerabilities of the U.S. financial system, tarnishing his legacy. Barack Obama. Barack Obama's presidency marked significant achievements, such as the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare.
It is time to heed the call of business leaders, labor leaders, faith leaders, law enforcement, and fix our broken immigration system.
However, his inability to pass comprehensive immigration reform was a notable failure. Despite his promises, efforts to overhaul the immigration system stalled in Congress. Additionally, his foreign policy faced setbacks such as the handling of the Libyan civil war and the rise of ISIS, undermining his image as a transformative leader in global affairs. Donald Trump. Donald Trump's presidency was characterized by controversy and numerous broken promises. One of his most publicized campaign pledges was the construction of a border wall between the U.S. and Mexico, a promise that ultimately proved unachievable.
Number one, we're going to build a wall. It's going to be a real wall. We're going to build a wall. It will get built.
Legal and logistical challenges prevented the wall from being built in its entirety. His attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act also failed, as no viable replacement was put forward during his tenure.
Let Obamacare implode and then do it. I turned out to be right. Let Obamacare implode. I've been saying that, Mike, I think you'll agree, for a long time. Let Obamacare fail. It'll be a lot easier. We're going to repeal and replace that horror show called Obamacare. It'll be repeal and replace. Repealing and replacing Obamacare.
Joe Biden. Joe Biden has faced significant challenges in fulfilling his campaign promises. The passage of a large infrastructure bill was delayed for months due to internal disagreements within the Democratic Party. His promise to swiftly address climate change has also faced setbacks, particularly with legislative gridlock in Congress. Additionally, his withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021 was criticized for its chaotic execution and the rapid collapse of the Afghan government, drawing harsh criticism from both sides of the political spectrum.
Two countries are rooted in the biblical heritage.
But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment.
It was created to fulfill the long-standing dream of the Jewish people to return to the home of their biblical origins.
Come, let us declare in Zion the word of God. The founders of my country saw a new promised land.
America's commitment to Israel's security is rock solid and unwavering.
Jerusalem will be the capital of Israel, and I have said that before, and I will say it again.
I recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel.
You need not be a Jew to be a Zionist.
I am a Zionist.
All of these presidents, by submitting to the Zionist lobby, have rendered their greatest services to Israel.
We stand with Israel!